Well, the UK has removed the final hurdle to begin their official exit from the European Union. Here's UK Prime Minister Theresa May this morning.
Last night, the bill on Article 50 successfully completed its passage through both houses unchanged. It will now proceed to royal assent in the coming days, so we remain on track with the timetable I set out 6 months ago. This will be a defining moment for our whole country as we begin to forge a new relationship with Europe and a new role for ourselves in the world.
The European Parliament Member Daniel Hannan, who's been at the heart of this movement from the very beginning. Congratulations.
Thank you. What a great day.
That was the last hurdle. That was it. No, nothing else. Nothing from the courts, nothing from unelected bureaucrats. That's it.
The whole country, more people voted to leave the European Union than have ever voted for anything in Britain. The two houses of Parliament have now given their assent. The process is now about to begin.
Okay, the process begins. When do you think then we'll see Article 50 invoked?
So Article 50 is, if you like, giving notice that you're right. Starting the process. That will happen at some point in the next 10 or 12 days. There is then a process of up to 2 years, and if at the end of those 2 years no deal is done, we're out anyway, which is, a lot of commentators think that puts Britain in a weak position. I really don't understand why. The alternative would be for us to be in a position where the other 27 states could string it out and carry on exacting payments from us more or less in perpetuity.
The Remain camp during the campaign talked about financial Armageddon if the country elected to go down this route. Maybe there's some pressure more recently on the pound sterling. The economy, though, has done very, very well. Do you suspect, though, there could be some sort of economic retribution, particularly from Germany, because they sort of want to send a warning to anyone else who's contemplating leaving the EU?
I mean, you're right. None of the predictions of disaster have materialized, but the people who made those predictions have not said, oh, we got that wrong. You know what they've done? They've behaved like leaders of some doomsday cult. You know, the apocalypse doesn't come and they just postpone the day. Yeah, but just you wait, just you wait. No, I mean, look, I have a much higher opinion of our European allies than that. We want the rest of the EU to flourish, and we want that to happen because prosperous neighbours make good customers, right? We have a direct, immediate interest in the well-being of the countries that are our suppliers, our customers, and our friends. And I think that works both ways around. So I expect this to be a fairly amicable process. Remember that we're starting, unlike in every other trade talks ever, we're starting from a position of zero tariffs and of regulatory equivalence. So on this one, the inertia bias, if you like, is working the other way around. It's difficult to see who's going to want to insert new trade barriers when there aren't any at the present time.
Exactly, and of course there's an existing knowledge that it's a reciprocal relationship, so why ruin that? Why not just enhance it and make it better? But having said that, I've read a lot of reports where there's a lot of concern about the city. London's financial district, maybe disbanding, moving a lot of operations, maybe even a large majority of it outside of London. Is that fair? Is that a legitimate fear or concern?
Well, so far there hasn't been much evidence of that. We've had a lot of investment into London since the vote. The big Dutch bank ING just moved its headquarters to London. Wells Fargo just spent £300 million on a new European HQ in London. Of course, if we get things wrong, inside or outside the European Union, if we have the wrong regulation or if our taxes are too high, that's going to damage us. But I don't think that is going to happen. I think outside the EU, we will have a lower, flatter and simpler tax system. I think we'll have a more global trade policy, and I think we'll have a more deregulated economy. And I think we can become a real regional hub, not just in financial services, but as the place in that part of the world where people want to come to do business.
Daniel, we've got some major elections in Europe, including elections this week. A lot of people are saying that they'll springboard off that momentum of Brexit in the election of Donald Trump in this country. Are you concerned about the ultimate unraveling of the EU, the Euro, the EU, and every country sort of going it alone? I mean, could some of these countries sustain themselves going it alone?
I wouldn't overdo the parallels, first of all. I mean, there is a huge difference between the Brexit campaign and, let's say, Marine Le Pen in France. Her campaign is angry, nativist, protectionist, and with racist undertones. That was very, very different.
She has come a long way, though, from her father, right? I mean, let's face it.
No question.
She is, she was even complimentary this week of Islam. But I know what you're saying.
Compared to the old man, that is true.
But what about the people, though? Because I get you, you know, maybe the campaign style in of itself is different, but the underlying anxiety and frustrations of the people may be parallel.
So there is probably a shared discontent against the failures of a remote political elite, whether in the national capitals or in Brussels. That much we have in common. But I'm really pleased that in Britain it took an open, liberal and democratic form rather than an angry, protectionist and socialist form, which is what's happening in France with Le Pen. Not that I think she's likely to win, but I mean, you know,
sure.
Our system has been very different. But I mean, to answer your original question about should the EU unravel, like I say, we have an immediate and direct interest in the stability and prosperity of our closest neighbours. So what I would like to see is for the European Union, in an orderly way, to return some powers to the nation states. If they'd been prepared to do that in our case, we would have probably not voted to leave.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, I just don't see any sign of that. And so they are risking storing up a much bigger explosion. For example, on the issue of immigration, I think Britain is now feeling its way towards a moderate, sensible and balanced proposal where we'll continue to have migrants from the EU coming to work, but we won't be paying them benefits. Almost every electorate in Europe, I suspect, would prefer that to the EU's insistence on free movement.
Right.
But if they're not given it, it could turn really nasty.
Thank you very, very much, and congratulations.